sorry. Okay, right, we're recording. Okay, so we're jogging on the spot, just nice and light on the ball of your feet, just starting to increase that heart rate, getting the blood moving. I hope you all had a good week so far. I can't believe it's the weekend already. It's gone by so quick. I feel like I've just lost a day somewhere. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I feel like the mornings are finally getting a little bit brighter, which means that like the spring is on the way. I can deal with the coldness as long as it's not raining and dark. Okay, we're going to some jumping jacks. So 3, 2, 1. Wide, hands up overhead. Really starting to warm up those shoulders, those hips. I'm feeling very stiff this morning, so let's try to do good, just mobility, starting to warm up those joints. So let's go into those seal jacks. So those arms are now going to come out in front. So 3, 2, 1. So you're coming out and in. So it's still the same jumping jack kind of movement, but instead of up overhead, we're stretching out that chest. Good. And if you need to, take out the jump. So I know I said no jumping, but there's no jumping in the actual workout. But in the warm-up, you can just kind of walk out instead of jumping. Good. Let's go into those 6 high knees and then 6 bum kicks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you choose your pace. Remember, just a warm up, just starting to loosen up. Good. Yeah, usually I do like, I don't know, however many workouts every week, but this week, the only ones I've done are the horizon ones. So I'm feeling quite stiff. So let's do our 4 little shuffles and a hip opener. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then open up those hips. So whatever way you went, whatever direction, go the opposite direction then on the second time. If you can remember. Good. And lots of cracks and creaks when I do that. Don't know, probably not such a good thing. Good. Let's do 2 more on each side, and then we're going to go into our walkouts. So I try to keep the warm-ups somewhat different, but it's difficult because I want to keep them quite short, but that we still have an exercise to warm up like all the body parts that we need to. So I'm sorry if they're becoming a little bit repetitive. So we're going to do our walkout. So I'm all the way into a plank. What I want you to do then is lift those hips up so into like our downward dog position. If you can kind of pedal out those legs. So bend one knee, bend the other. Back into our plank and then into our low lunge. Here I want you to do a couple of little hip circles. So in one direction and then the other. And then we're going to open up to the side like we usually do. Other side, so low lunge, a couple of circles in one direction, then in the other direction, and then you're going to open up wide. Okay, so let's walk back. Let's do 2 more of these, okay? So walk into a plank, hips to the sky, pedal those legs out. So feel the stretch on your calf. Roll back forward into our plank. Low lunge. Couple of hip circles one way, couple of hip circles the other, and open. Good. Other leg. And it's okay if you can't get that ankle right up to your wrist. You can kind of use your hand to help shimmy your leg up there. That's fine. Okay, and open. Perfect. And let's walk back. Last exercise, or last one for our warm-up. We're gonna do fast feet. So what you're gonna do is, when I say like narrow wide, you're gonna put your feet narrow wide. So we're gonna start fast feet, use those hands, use those legs. Fast we can, narrow feet. So let's go. Wide, wide feet, fast as you can. Narrow, wide, ooh, narrow, wide, and let's do one more of each. Narrow those feet together, my poor neighbors. Wide, and relax. Okay, so you should have a water bottle if you need it for the 30-minute session, some sort of weight, and then let's get going. So I'm going to show you the first movement. We're going to go into a reverse lunge. Standing at the top of your mat or whatever area you're working in, we are going to put our weight kind of up over our shoulders like so. We're stepping back, and when we stand, we're overhead pressing. So reverse lunge and press. Okay, obviously just get rid of the weights if you're not using them today. That is completely fine. Okay, 40 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So step back so that weight is in the middle. So you're not leaning back, you're not leaning forward. In the middle, we stand and we press. Good. So the leg that's in front, that's the one that's doing the work. So we're pushing up from the heel of that front foot. Good. Make sure you're not leaning too far forward. And those legs, so when you step back, it's like train tracks. You can see that my leg is going right behind and standing. Good. Okay, so you're going to keep your weight. If we start in the middle, you're going to step to the side, step back, into the center, and then we're going to stand up onto our toes. So let me go again. So you're here, step to the side, step back, center, and then up onto our toes. Okay, so let's try it together. So low, to the side, center, and then stand up onto those toes. Side, side, center, up onto our toes. And those weights are just giving you extra resistance. So if they're too much, get rid of them. Good. So stay low, 2 steps to the center, and then when you come up, we're working our calf muscles. Those muscles on the back of our shins. And relax. Good. Okay. 20-second rest. We got them once more. So what I was saying with those lunges, when you step back, my leg isn't here. It's not like behind me. I'm gonna lose balance. Think of it like a rail, like rail tracks. Straight back and stand. Straight back and stand. Okay, let's go. So on our shoulders, step back and shoulder press. Reverse lunge, shoulder press. We're working our bum, we're working our hamstrings, we're working our shoulders. Keep breathing, keep that chest up. And you just find the rhythm. It takes a little bit of coordination, that's okay. You have 3 seconds. And relax, good, okay. So this next one, it's all about keeping the tension in that low squat. So we have like this position, to the side, center, and then I'm coming up onto my tippy toes and back down, okay? So let's give it a go. So to the side, center, and up onto our tippy toes. And that exercise is called a calf raise. And stand. So to the side, and just take your time. You can follow my pace. You can go faster, you can go slower. Good. You're really tiring out those legs. Stand and try as best you can to keep your balance when you go into that calf raise. I know it's tricky. Good, and relax. Okay, so this time, we're gonna go into a side lunge. We haven't done one of these before, and I think that this is gonna feel a little bit strange the first time you do it, and that's okay. So you're gonna keep your weights up here in this position. It's called a front rack position. We're gonna step out to the side, bend this knee, push our hips back, and power back up. So down and up. So let's give that a go. So you're gonna step to the side. The knee is kind of staying over our foot, pushing those hips back, and powering to stand back up. So you can see from here, my hips are going back. And we're staying on whatever side you're on, so you're not alternating. Let's do all of them on one side. You have 10 seconds. Good. Perfect. Okay, and relax. So our next one, you can use your two cans. I'm going to use a little bit of a heavier weight on this one. Our feet are pointed 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. We're a little bit wider than hip width apart. We're going to squat down. We're going to do a little pulse and stand. So pulse and stand. Okay, let's give it a go together. So down, little jump, or not a jump, a little pulse, so like a tiny small squat at the bottom, and stand. So those knees are staying pointed out, 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. We're not super duper wide so that you're hurting your knees. Just a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Chest up. And again, all the weight is in those heels. That's going to really make sure that we're working our bum, we're working our hamstrings, and relax. Good. Okay, so I'm using a light, I'm using a can to these ones because I think that side lunge is quite a difficult movement. So if you need to, if using any sort of weight is too much, just get rid of them and practice just the movement pattern. So, we ready? The other side, so we're stepping out and standing back. And you might find it a little bit more awkward on one side than the other. I think this has to do with our flexibility. I find this side a lot more difficult. Good. You're over halfway. So again, from the side, you're pushing those hips back and standing. Drive into that heel. We'll take any pressure off that back. Full foot on the ground and relax. Okay. Back into those sumo squats. So, sumo position, a little bit wider. So we had a goblet last week was like this, like we're drinking a goblet. This week we have sumo, a little bit wider, and let's go. So, small pulse at the bottom and stand. Good. And really just slow the movement down. If it's really easy for you, let's slow it down. See if you can pinpoint where you feel it working. What muscle groups are being fired up here? Good. Keep those knees out. Full foot is planted on the ground, but our weight is predominantly in the back of that foot, so in the heel. And relax, good. Okay, we're coming into a new movement. We're coming into a tricep push-up. So our triceps are on the back of those arms. So everyone is going to be on their knees, or they're going to be in a box position. So either this position or this position. So what I want you to do is get those hands a little bit closer together than what you would normally have for a push-up. Keep those elbows beside our body. We come down and push up. So instead of this, we have this. Okay. And you're just staying here for our full 40 seconds. Make sure those hands are underneath our shoulders. And again, if you're in this box position, you'll just have a little bit of a smaller range of motion. I promise probably feels a little bit strange, but that's how you're going to develop your strength for this movement. So our next one, keep your hands or no weight, hands up overhead. Side crunch, cross body crunch. Side crunch, cross body crunch. All on the same side, okay? Right, let's give it a go. So hands up like you're in star position. Elbow to knee, opposite elbow to knee. Elbow to knee, opposite. Good. So we should be feeling this in our core. Even keeping those hands up overhead. We're working those shoulders. You have 10 seconds left. Staying on that side. And then we're going back into those tricep push-ups. Perfect. Okay, you got 20 seconds. So for these tricep push-ups, the main difference is usually our hands are here. We're working our chest nice and wide. This one we're close together. We're working the back of those arms. They're difficult. They're a hard movement to master. So you're either in a box position or bring those knees back, and we're going to go from our knees. So you're aiming to get that chest to the ground. And if you need to, rest when you're down here, and then push back up. So let's lie on the ground, release the hands, and then come back. And I was also thinking, if your wrists are starting to kind of be a little bit achy, know that that is normal. We typically don't have super developed wrists. We don't use a lot of work on our wrists as women, when I'm talking very in general there, but you know, our wrists do need some time to strengthen up. So if that is the case, don't worry. It's not injured, it is normal, especially when we're doing a lot of push-ups and a lot of upper body work, but it's important that you stretch them out then. So we're going on to the other side for these crunches. Have I just done that wrong? Oh yeah, other leg. So same elbow to knee, opposite elbow to knee. So it's the same knee that's working all the time, just different arms. Yeah, so I think for our wrists, it's important that we warm them up. And you can find lots of routines on YouTube. We just never have enough time on these workouts to do that. So if you do find that they're starting to hurt, maybe do a quick 2 or 3 minute cool down. You can find a video on YouTube. Okay, so we're going down into the mat. You're going to take a weight or no weight. You can do this body weight. We're doing our hip thrusts. So heels on the ground, close to our bum, lifting the hips up and lowering. Lift and lower. Okay, and that's all you're doing for 40 seconds. Good. So you're pushing up with the heels, squeezing your bum at the top. And you can do this just body weight, that's perfect. If you want to add some resistance and make it harder, you can do that. So your chest is lifting up towards your chin, and your chin is lifting up towards the sky. Don't listen to that buzzer, that was on the music. You have 3 seconds. Good, and relax. Okay, so you are going to either keep the weights that you have, or you're going to do a body weight. So you're going to do a half burpee. So we're going to jump our legs back, jump them in, and stand. Down you go, jump out, jump in, and stand. Okay, if that's too much, step the legs out, step the legs in, and stand. You have 30 seconds. So our back is nice and straight when you are standing. So it's like you're in almost like a very low squat. Good. And again, you can do this with no weights. That's perfect. You have 3 seconds and relax. Okay. We got those hip thrusts once more. Whew. Okay, 10 seconds. I put moisturizer on before this and I feel like it's just sweating off. Okay, 2 seconds. Let's go. So heels are in quite close to our bum. Lifting those hips and lower. If you are using a weight or your can or a water bottle, just make sure that your hands are just like keeping it in place and your arms aren't actually doing the work. So it should be your hips, your glutes, your hamstrings. They're the muscles doing the work. And I should also say, if your hips are a little bit sore from putting any weight on them, you can also put like a towel around your waist, and that can help kind of cushion against your hip bones. Okay, 8 seconds. Half burpee into this deadlift, okay? So when we stand, that exercise is called a deadlift. So jump back or step back, step in, and then we're gonna keep that chest up and stand up nice and tall. So our legs are doing the work when we stand, not our back. After this, you have 2 exercises left, and then we're done. 8 seconds. And relax, good. Okay, we've done this exercise once before. It may have been before, you may not have been on that call. So we're gonna do a single arm snatch. This is a complicated movement. So where you would use your very light weight for this in the beginning. Hand is coming in front, using that elbow, we're pulling straight up overhead and down. Opposite hand or other hand, elbows doing the work, straight up overhead. Okay, so you're gonna give this a go. As I said, try to use the absolute lightest weight that you have. And you're just gonna practice the movement pattern. So it's as if you're like taking off your top with one hand. That's like almost the motion because your elbow's doing the work. You're keeping the weight in close to your body. And relax, good. We're coming onto the ground and we're doing a butterfly sit-up. So, soles of your feet are together. Touch the back of the mat. And we're sitting up to touch your feet. If this is in any way sore on your back, get rid of it. Do normal crunches, bicycle crunches, plank, whatever you want to do. If you can do it, let's give it a go. So usually this movement is a little bit easier than a normal sit-up because our knees are like out. And you can also use a little bit of momentum. So you're touching the ground and those arms are kind of helping you drive up. You have 8 seconds. So 3, 2, and relax, good. Okay, so we're coming back into the single arm snatch. A snatch, and you might have heard of a clean. Those are 2 Olympic weightlifting movements. In the Olympics, in the weightlifting, they literally do those 2 movements. They are complicated. So if you're thinking, I just don't know how to do this, Emma, that's okay. We're just gonna keep practicing. That's the only way that you're gonna get better at these movements. Well, you can also, I guess, look at YouTube and various other things, but you need to be practicing. So our knees are bent, our feet are in that kind of sumo squat position. We're dropping our hips, grabbing the weight in the middle of our body, and our elbow is pulling high. Those hips are helping, so our hips are driving that weight up. It's not all from our upper body. Those legs are helping as well. And relax, good. Push the weight out of the way. Butterfly sit up. 10 seconds, okay. Whew. After this, before we get into our cool down, I wanted to do one last thing if we have the time. How are we doing time? I can't see, okay. So, sit-ups. I wanted to do a challenge of a 1 minute plank hold. And then we're into our quick cool down. I think it would be good to maybe work on this and see, like, if we can build it up to maybe 2 minutes. I find the plank so difficult because it's just like a mental thing. Like you have to just zone out and just do it instead of jumping around. So we're gonna hold it for 1 minute and relax. So grab a drink of water. Let me set up my 1 minute timer. And then we're gonna do this and then we are gonna do our cool down. Timer, 1 minute. Okay. So for you, you can do your plank. Hands underneath our shoulders. Perfect. You can do elbows underneath our shoulders. Perfect. Too difficult? Let's drop those knees. Let's do a half plank. 1 minute. Okay, we ready? Get into your position. I'm going to do it on my elbows because I find them the most difficult and I obviously need to work on them. So, 3, 2, 1. 1 minute. Oh no! Okay, if you see that little 10-minute reminder thing, don't worry. Just keep going. So, stretch those heels back towards the wall behind you. Make sure that our belly button is pulled in, so our hips aren't high, our hips aren't low. We're in a nice flat line. Make sure that those elbows or our hands are completely are right underneath our shoulders, and our head is nice and neutral. Oh, I hate this. Do not drop off this call and leave me suffering by myself. You have 10 seconds. Stay with me. If you have a little bit of a shake, that's okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax. Oh man, so difficult. Okay, quick cool down, and then you're out of here. So we're gonna come onto our back, all the way down. Let me just turn off this. So lie onto your back. We're gonna pull one knee in towards our body. Sorry, let me just. Okay. So one knee in towards our body, give it a hug. Good. Give it a little bit of a circle. So going one way and then in the other. And then I want you to cross that knee over the straight leg. So you're going to do like a lion twist. If possible, you can stretch out that opposite hand and look towards that hand for an extra twist. But make sure you're not pulling your body, okay? So we're just trying to give it a nice gentle stretch, no kind of cranking or pulling. Okay, let's go the other one. So let's pull that knee in, small circles in one way. And then in the other. And then let's cross it over that body. So again, you might hear a little bit of a crack, that's okay. As long as you're not pulling. If possible, it's important to keep those two shoulders on the ground. So it's more important to keep your shoulders on the ground than pulling your knee towards the ground. That knee will come down in time, so don't worry. Okay, hand up overhead, our big beach ball, coming forward, and then wherever those hands naturally fall to, we're just gonna hang out here. Again, you can keep a little bit of a bend in your knees if you want to, or you can straighten them out. Whew. Good. 2 last stretches. Let's come into our pigeon. So if you were there for Pilates on, was that on Monday? That feels like ages ago. You saw Katie doing a pigeon position. So our leg is, we're going to try to get the shin bone in like parallel line with the front of our mat. That back leg is out straight behind us. And you're either staying here, this is perfect in this position. If you have a little bit more range in you, well then we can come onto our elbows. And you should feel a nice stretch in that glute and that bum. Good. Okay. Let's flip onto the other side. So again, you might see that there's like our sides of our body are different, you know. We usually have a dominant hand, a dominant foot. So if one of them feels a bit tighter than the other, that's okay. Don't expect the same things from both sides of your body. They're different. Good, and again, if you need to, come onto your elbows, that's perfect. Whatever helps you. If you need to even twist to the side, just start to learn how to listen to your body and what your body needs. Perfect. Last one, we're standing, hands nice and tall, and forward fold. So wherever you land, just clasp those elbows. And just relax. Bring that breathing down. Slow the heart rate. Yes and no with our head. Good. And relax. Guys, done and dusted. Well done. 10:30, half an hour. Good job. So I had 2 little announcements. Let me just stop recording there.